All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we are tackling something I know a lot of you have asked about.
Yeah, this is a big one.
It is. It's Arabic verb conjugation and agreement. We know you're using pronunciator.
Yeah, that's great.
And you're getting those reps in. But you know what? We are going to unpack the why.
Yeah. Why are these verbs changing so much?
Like, what's the reason behind all the transformations? So by the end of this, we really want you to walk away with feeling like, okay, I got this. I can unlock the language.
Exactly. You know, some people get really intimidated by Arabic verbs because they see them changing all the time. It feels like it's random or something like that, but there's really a logic to it. And once you get that logic, then the whole system opens up.
I love that. It's like we give you the key and then boom, you unlock the whole language.
That's a good way to put it.
So what is the core of it all?
It's basically inflection. It's how verbs morph based on a few things, like who's doing the action, when they are doing it, how many of them there are, and even sometimes the gender gets involved.
It sounds complicated.
It's not really. I mean, in English, we do this too. You know how the word play becomes played in the past tense?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that, but Arabic just takes it to, like, another level. It has way more variations than English does.
Way more variations. So it's kind of like in English, we might say played, but in Arabic, it's like, oh, but did he play? Did she play? Did they play? Like, what's going on here?
You got it. It's like the verb really wants to be super specific about, you know, all those little details.
Got it. Okay, so I'm guessing there are like factors involved in how it gets conjugated then.
Yeah, there are some key things that affect what the verb looks like. So the first one is tense.
Okay, tense.
You know, past, present, future, just like in English.
Oh, okay, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. And then there is the subject, which is also the same in English. So I, you, he, she, all those pronouns.
Okay, so we're matching up with English so far.
Right, but then things start to get a little more unique to Arabic.
Okay, here we go. Let's get into it.
So Arabic has this really cool feature called the dual form.
The dual form.
Yeah, it's used when there are exactly two people or two things doing the action. So it's not just singular or plural like in English. You have a specific form just for pairs.
Wait, a whole separate form for pairs? That's wild.
I know, right? It's like the language acknowledges that, you know, two is a special number. And to make things even more interesting, Arabic verbs also change based on the gender of the subject. So whether it's masculine or feminine.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We got tense, subject, this cool dual form, and then gender, all playing a role in how the verb looks.
You got it. It seems like a lot, but it all makes sense once you see it in action. Let's take an example.
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready.
So let's use the verb kataba, which means to write in Arabic.
Kataba.
Okay, so if you want to say he wrote, it stays kataba. But if you want to say she wrote, it becomes katabat. You see how that ending changed?
Whoa, yeah, it did. Just from he to she, the verb totally morphed.
Exactly. Now imagine this same kind of change happening because of the tense. Or if we were talking about two people writing or a whole bunch of people, you know, the combinations kind of explode.
Okay, yeah. That is a lot to keep track of. But you said there's a system to it, a logic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The good thing is that these changes are actually pretty predictable. They follow patterns. And that's where using pronunciator is really going to come in handy.
Right.
Because all those drills and quizzes they have, those are designed to help you internalize those patterns through practice.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because it's kind of like learning music. You know, like when you first start learning scales on a piano or a guitar, it's like, oh my gosh, my fingers are all over the place.
I know, right? It's so confusing.
But then the more you do it, your fingers just kind of know where to go. And you start seeing the patterns on the instrument.
Exactly. It's about training your brain. And it's the same thing with Arabic verbs. The more you practice with them, the more you start to recognize the patterns and the less overwhelming it feels.
Right. So, okay, we got the how, we got the why, we got the practice. But what about the bigger picture? Like, what does this whole verb thing tell us about the Arabic language?
That's a great question. I think it really shows us how much attention Arabic pays to detail. It's super precise and nuanced, and that carries over into its grammar. You know, the way those verbs change based on gender and number, it's not just about getting the grammar right. It's about expressing yourself with that same level of detail and nuance. It's like each little change in the verb adds another layer of meaning to what you're saying.
Wow. Okay, that makes me think about something. We were talking about how English doesn't really have that dual form.
Right.
So many languages have kind of let that go.
Yeah.
But Arabic has held on to it. Like, what do you think that says?
Hmm. I think it might reflect a different way of looking at the world, right? Maybe it shows how important relationships are in Arabic culture, especially those one-on-one connections between people. Having a specific grammatical form for pairs, I think it suggests that those relationships hold a special significance.
That's a really interesting point. It's like the grammar itself is reflecting a cultural value.
Exactly. It's a reminder that language is more than just words. It's a way of thinking and experiencing the world.
Absolutely. So, for everyone listening, as you're going through those pronunciator lessons and you hit those verbs, remember you're not just memorizing endings,
Yeah.
you're tapping into this beautiful, nuanced world of Arabic expression.
And don't be afraid to play around with the chatbot. Try different conjugations, different pronouns, different tenses. See how the verbs change, and you'll start to really understand the logic behind it.
Yeah, just get in there, make some mistakes, and have fun with it.
Exactly. And remember, each correct conjugation isn't just about getting the grammar right. It's about expressing yourself with that beautiful level of detail and nuance that Arabic offers.
Keep practicing, and you'll unlock those secrets one verb at a time. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.